Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
What if the code running, your company's web app was secretly checking your passport before deciding whether to just burn your servers to the ground? Welcome to Connecting the Dots, broadcasting live from Snarful Solutions Group right here in Sacramento, California. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
And today is Tuesday, May 12, 2026. Before we get into today's news, let's get you caught up on the world right outside your window and the numbers driving your wallet. If you are stepping out in Sacramento today, you are in for an absolutely gorgeous one. It is sunny, sitting right at 88 degrees Fahrenheit with a nice light breeze anywhere from 3 to 12 miles per hour.
Oh, that is perfect weather.
Just beautiful. But if you have family out of state or maybe some travel plans, definitely keep your head on a swivel. There are currently 289 active U.S. weather alerts right now.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, 289. And 77 of those are over land. So always check weather.gov before you hit the road.
Which is super important, especially as we head deeper into the spring travel season. You definitely don't want to get caught in one of those unexpected cross-country systems.
Oh, absolutely not. And looking at the markets, we saw a pretty solid start to the week on Monday. The Dow Jones closed up 155.40 points, which is a 0.31% bump.
Nice.
Yeah. And the S&P 500 kind of mirrored that exact energy, closing up 27.53 points, or 0.37%.
Yeah.
Over in the crypto space, Bitcoin is currently sitting at 80,634.76. So it's down just a hair, like 1.33% for the day.
Just a little dip.
Yeah, nothing crazy. And for our sports fans, a quick shout out to the SF Giants, who took down the Dodgers 9-3 yesterday.
Oh, man, that was a game.
It was. Matt Gage was the winning pitcher, just threw a phenomenal game. Meanwhile, the Kings and the A's had the night off, so everyone is rested up and ready for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's good to see the Giants carrying that momentum. Hopefully the markets maintain that similar steady climb.
We will definitely see. But before we get into the heavy-hitting tech news shaping your week, today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
So let's set the stage for what is actually happening across the tech landscape today, because there is this very clear defining tension right now. We are basically looking at the invisible borders of the digital world.
Yeah, because the software that your family relies on every day to bank or communicate or do your work, it's currently facing this massive, highly sophisticated attack. It's literally a war being waged on the software layer.
Exactly. But all of this code, it's entirely useless without the heavy-duty computing power to actually run it. And the physical hardware, the actual silicon, is caught in this intense, high-stakes geopolitical tug-of-war.
Right. So software wants to be borderless, freely shared across the globe. But the hardware required to run it is becoming fiercely nationalized.
Which is exactly the conflict we're seeing.
So let's unpack this massive supply chain attack to see exactly how that software is being targeted right now.
Yeah.
Security researchers are tracking this new campaign, and they've dubbed it the Mini Shai-Hulud worm.
Like from Dune.
Like from Dune, yeah. Giant sandworm. And this whole thing starts with NPM packages. For anyone listening who isn't, writing code every day, think of NPM as this massive global hardware store of pre-written code. Developers use these packages as foundational build-get blocks so they don't have to just reinvent the wheel every single time they build a website.
Right. And the issue is you trust that the cement you're buying from that hardware store isn't, secretly dissolving your foundation. This specific attack targeted 84 of those NPM packages, primarily in a namespace called TanStack.
And TanStack is huge, right?
Oh, it's foundational. For web developers, we're talking about packages like React Router. That one alone sees over 12 million downloads a week.
12 million. A week.
A week, yeah. And UiPath packages were also compromised in this.
Wow. And the mechanics of this breach, like how they actually pulled it off, are just staggering. The attackers used a pattern that researchers are calling a pun request.
Yeah, pun request is brilliant, a malicious but brilliant piece of engineering. They didn't just brute force a password or guess an admin login.
Too easy.
Right. Instead, they exploited the continuous integration systems, the CI pipelines, that developers use to automatically build and test their code. Specifically, they targeted GitHub actions. The hackers essentially poisoned the cache across the trust boundary.
Okay, wait, let's pause for a second. Let's break that down because that is a lot of jargon.
Right.
You're saying they poisoned a temporary memory cache.
Right.
But how does messing with temporary memory rewrite the permanent official code that is being downloaded 12 million times a week?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so it has to do with how automated testing works to save time. Imagine you have a secure facility, right? And a guest worker submits a prototype for review. The automated system, which is GitHub Actions here, runs a test on this new, seemingly innocent code.
Okay.
But during that test, the malicious code deliberately saves a compromised file into the system's shared memory, or cache.
Ah, I see.
Right, so later, when the legitimate, highly trusted owners of the project run their official, secure publishing process to release an update, their automated system just wants to save time.
So it pulls from the cache.
Exactly. It reaches into that cache, pulls out the poisoned file instead of compiling a fresh one, and inadvertently packages the malware into the official release.
That is wildly clever.
Yeah.
And terrifying. And from what I understand, that poison file allowed the attackers to extract an OIDC token from the system's memory.
Yes.
So for context, an OpenID Connect token, an OIDC token, is basically a temporary, highly trusted digital ID badge.
It's kind of like...
Okay, imagine going to a really high-end restaurant and a valet takes your car. But the valet is a hacker. They steal your master key fob, the one that's programmed to open your car, your house, and your office. And they just use that fob to quietly unlock the doors and walk right in.
And the most dangerous part of that valet key analogy is that the automated security system never logs the valet's actions as suspicious, because it thinks that you are the one holding the key.
Right, because it's your fob.
Exactly. Because they possess that OIDC token, GitHub believed the hackers were the legitimate developers, and that is what allowed the attackers to publish a 2.3 megabyte heavily obfuscated payload called rooterinit.js.
And obfuscated, just meaning they intentionally scrambled the code so that, automated security scanners couldn't read its true intent.
Right, it looks like gibberish to the scanners.
But once a developer accidentally downloads this compromised package, the worm just goes to work. It actively hunts for the keys to the corporate kingdom. It scrapes the developer's environment for Amazon Web Services keys, GitHub tokens, HashiCorp Vault credentials, and even Kubernetes service accounts.
But it doesn't even stop at credential theft. That's the wild part. It's a self-replicating worm. It actively works to spread itself by impersonating a legitimate AI coding assistant, the Claude Code bot.
Wait, it pretends to be an AI?
Yes. By spoofing the email address Claude at users.norreply.github.com, it just quietly commits copies of itself into other code repositories. So to anyone looking, it just makes it look like a helpful AI made a routine code adjustment.
Oh, wow. That is sneaky. And the persistence mechanism is what really gets me here. It doesn't just steal your data and leave. It's like finding out the burglar didn't just take your valuables. They secretly hardwired a backdoor into your home's security panel.
Yeah.
The worm buries itself in hidden local folders on the developer's machine so that even if the computer's fully restarted, rebooted entirely, the malware just boots right back up.
It's super persistent. Not only that, but how it communicates back to the hackers is incredibly stealthy. It exfiltrates the stolen credentials through the Session P2P network.
Which is an encrypted messaging app, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Session is a decentralized encrypted messaging network. By routing the stolen data through Session, the malicious traffic blends in perfectly. So to a security analyst who might be monitoring the network, it just looks like routine telemetry.
Just normal data.
Just normal operational data pinging back and forth from a secure chat app. It leaves almost zero footprint.
Wow. So when we strip away all the tech jargon, the reality is that the foundational building blocks used to create the apps you and your family use every single day were briefly laced with a highly evasive, self-replicating credential stealer.
Which is massive on its own. But this exact same infrastructure has evolved, and the consequences have shifted from, silent data theft to outright targeted destruction.
Okay, let's look closer at how this evolved. because the Mini Shai-Hulud campaign escalated straight into the booming AI ecosystem, and it just proves that open source code is no longer neutral territory.
Not at all. Microsoft Threat Intelligence actually identified that a Python package for Mistral AI was also compromised, specifically version 2.4.6.
And Mistral is huge.
Yeah, you already know Mistral is foundational infrastructure for enterprise AI right now. Hitting their library isn't just a random strike. It is targeting the absolute center of gravity for corporate machine learning.
Right. So an AI developer imports this package, assuming it's just the standard secure Mistral AI tool. But the moment it is imported onto a Linux machine, the injected code silently reaches out to a remote IP address and downloads a secondary payload. And they deceptively named this payload transformers.pyz.
Which is brilliant camouflage, honestly. Hugging Face, which is another titan in the AI space, maintains a wildly popular library called Transformers.
Oh, I see. So it's a disguise.
Right. If a security operations center spots a file called Transformers running on an AI engineer's workstation, they likely won't flag it. It blends right into the expected environment of a machine learning workload. Nobody would look twice at it.
But the payload itself isn't looking for AWS keys anymore. This new one has highly specific geofencing logic built into its core.
Yeah. And to understand geofencing in this context, we have to ask how a piece of code actually knows what country it's currently sitting in.
How does it do that?
Well, the moment it activates, it queries the computer's system clock to check the local time zone. Then it reviews the default language settings of the operating system. And finally, it cross-references local IP registries to basically build a complete geographic profile of the machine.
And based on that geographic profile, it makes decisions. Like, first, if it detects the system is running in Russian, it deliberately shuts down and does absolutely nothing.
Which, by the way, is a classic obfuscation tactic in cybersecurity. It doesn't definitively prove the hackers are Russian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, often threat actors will write code to deliberately bypass certain regions to avoid drawing the ire of local authorities, or specifically to throw security researchers off their trail by framing a particular nation state.
Okay, that makes sense. A little misdirection. But the next check is where the weaponization actually happens. If the payload determines the computer is operating in Israel or Iran, it rolls the dice. There is a 1 in 6 chance that it will activate a destructive branch of code and execute the command rm-rf.
And for anyone unfamiliar with Linux commands, rm-rf is the nuclear option.
It's bad.
It's very bad. It forcibly and recursively deletes everything on the hard drive. It wipes the operating system, the proprietary AI models, the historical data. I mean, everything is gone in seconds.
This completely changes the narrative. In the first story with the web developers, we had a digital burglar looking for a quiet, lucrative payout.
Right, stealing keys.
Exactly. But this is a burglar who breaks into your server room, ignores the expensive hardware, checks the passport sitting on the desk, and based strictly on your nationality, decides whether to burn the building to the ground.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Why are open source AI tools suddenly becoming the delivery mechanism for geopolitical arson?
Because AI development tools sit at the absolute nexus of highly valuable intellectual property and massive computing scale, compromising a single machine learning engineer's workstation can grant an attacker access to a company's entire cloud cluster.
So it's the perfect entry point.
Exactly. And when you inject geofenced hard drive wipers into that environment, it signals a massive shift in motivation. These aren't financially motivated cyber criminals looking for a quick ransom anymore.
Right.
These are highly sophisticated, likely state-sponsored or state-aligned actors who are willing to cause severe operational disruption and sabotage within very specific geopolitical hotspots.
It is a stark reminder that the digital supply chain is an active battlefield right now. But, all of this highly sophisticated geofenced malware is entirely useless without the physical processors to actually run the AI models.
Right, the hardware.
Yeah, and the control of that physical hardware brings us directly to the tension currently surrounding NVIDIA.
Because the software war relies entirely on silicon, and the flow of that silicon is currently dictated by world leaders and chief executives.
Right. We are currently tracking this incredibly high-stakes diplomatic and commercial trip to China being led by President Trump. He is bringing a heavyweight delegation of U.S. executives to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
It's a huge roster.
Oh, massive. We are talking about Apple's Tim Cook, Tesla's Elon Musk, and Boeing's Kelly Ortberg. And, Ortberg has a lot riding on this. Boeing is actively hunting to secure a massive 500 jet order for their 737 MSX, which would just be a transformative win for the company's current trajectory.
Oh, totally. And the administration is really attempting to thread a very thin needle here. It's a diplomatic mission designed to project strength while simultaneously acting as a commercial mission to navigate trade tensions and secure vital economic wins for American companies.
Right.
But the biggest drama unfolding right now centers squarely on NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang.
Oh man, the reporting on this is giving the entire industry whiplash today. We have two completely conflicting narratives playing out in real time.
Yeah.
On one side, you've got sources like CNBC and Blockonomy reporting that Jensen Huang was specifically not invited on this trip. And this is despite Huang publicly stating it would be a, quote, great honor to attend.
And if he is excluded, the implications are massive. NVIDIA's most advanced AI processors have faced incredibly strict U.S. export restrictions to China for years.
Right. They haven't been able to sell their best stuff.
Exactly. In response, NVIDIA poured resources into engineering a specific, slightly throttled chip, the H200, designed specifically to comply with those exact restrictions.
I'd say within the rules.
Yeah. They did that to maintain access to what Huang estimates as a $50 billion annual AI market in China. So if he is left off the manifest for this diplomatic flight, it strongly suggests those efforts are totally stalled, and Washington is just not ready to thaw the hardware freeze.
And we saw the market instantly react to that exact rumor. NVIDIA stock took a 0.7% dip in pre-market trading just on the whisper that he wasn't going.
Yeah.
But then, on the exact flip side, you have a report from Invez stating that Huang was in fact invited, alongside the CEO of Exxon.
And if the Invez report proves true, it sends the exact opposite geopolitical signal.
Right.
It would indicate that Washington actually recognizes the economic necessity of preserving AI chip access to the global market, and they are actively managing the relationship to keep NVIDIA dominant on the world stage.
So they might even be looking to negotiate the easing of certain export controls.
Exactly.
It is a high-stakes game of telephone. But why should you, the listener, care whether one billionaire gets a seat on a plane to Beijing? Because this directly impacts global inflation. It impacts the health of tech-heavy retirement portfolios, and it dictates the underlying cost of almost every smart device we use.
It ripples through everything.
It really does. NVIDIA has a massive earnings call coming up on May 20th. Analysts are expecting them to report an astonishing $78.6 billion in revenue. If that $50 billion Chinese market is permanently locked down or suddenly opened up, those numbers and the broader tech market will just swing violently.
That is the reality of the hardware layer. You have these globally interconnected software ecosystems where developers are unwittingly downloading self-replicating worms and triggering geo-fenced hard drive wipers, right? And at the exact same time, governments are fiercely locking down the physical boundaries of the processors that make it all run.
It is a massive collision course. The code has no borders, but the silicon is guarded by militaries and trade embargoes. We are quite literally holding our breath to see who steps off that plane in Beijing, because it will set the tone for the next decade of technological development.
Every single layer of the tech stack, from the open source code library to the physical microchip, is heavily contested territory right now.
Before we wrap up, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store, perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
So to tie all of these threads together, we are witnessing an unprecedented level of sophistication in how our digital infrastructure is being targeted. The stakes have dramatically escalated from silent data exfiltration to targeted, politically motivated destruction.
Yeah.
And the physical backbone of that entire digital world remains locked in a deeply complex diplomatic standoff between global superpowers.
Which leaves us with a pretty heavy thought to ponder as you go about your week. If open source coding libraries, the very foundation of how we build the modern internet, can now be weaponized to wipe servers based strictly on the country you happen to live in, will the future of software development require digital passports and government background checks just to write a simple line of code?
That is a fascinating and deeply unsettling question. I mean, we might literally be watching the end of the open internet as we know it.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.